This is Andy Perot for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by up-and-coming prospect Anthony Garnica over Zoom. Anthony, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate your time, mate, and obviously it's good to hear you're doing well. What is life in lockdown like in your side of the world?
It's what everybody's going through. We're all going through the same thing. But the only thing we can do is just keep pushing.
How have you found trying to train despite being in lockdown?
Actually, I have. I've been training one-on-one with my trainer, Manny Robles. So I've had the opportunity to get back in the gym and start training, mitts, bag work.
Obviously, I just mentioned to you off camera, I spoke to Manny a couple of days ago. How have you found it, just having more one-to-one work and not having everybody in the gym together, having the proper camaraderie you'd have had as previously?
It's a little different now. Everybody has to take precautions, but we're still in there putting in the work. Just getting ready for the next day.
How's the current situation impacted your plans for this year?
It just brought me back a little bit. It just gave us a little time to just think about stuff, and this just gave us a time to think and come back stronger. Come back next fight looking better than the previous fight, than the last fight.
Now, with this being your first time on the channel, I wanted to try and just start off from the beginning of your career and get a bit of knowledge on your amateur days. I've read that you had over 100 amateur fights.
Yeah.
You're only 20 now, so talk to me about that.
Yeah, I started when I was 7. My dad got me into the sport, and ever since I was 7, I just stuck to it. Middle school, high school, and once I graduated high school, I made the transition from amateur to professional.
Why boxing? Why not a different sport or a different career path?
Since I was 7, that's the only thing I knew how to do. I only had one job when I was younger, and from there, my main focus was boxing. I really want to make a name for myself in the sport.
I know that you've won the national titles, but just talk to me about your achievements and accomplishments as an amateur.
As an amateur, I had over 120 fights. I've done a lot of traveling. I've been to different countries. Been on the USA team. I've won the Golden Gloves. I was #1 Northern California in 2016. In 2017, I was on the USA team. So it was a good amateur experience. I feel like I got a feel like of every different style, southpaw. The fighters that are slick, fighters that are comfort fighters.
A couple of things you've said there I want to pick up on. Firstly, you mentioned obviously you had the chance to travel the world as an amateur. What's that experience like as somebody so young?
It was a good experience, and especially like me coming from Oakland, California, where there's really nothing out there, and boxing gave me the opportunity to travel, see different things, meet different people, and it was a good experience.
You mentioned that there was nothing from where you're from, where you grew up. What's given you kind of your drive and determination to make a career and a life for yourself?
Mainly my family. I do this for myself and for my family. I look out for everybody that's looking out for me. And yeah, my families, they push me to keep going. Every time I wake up in the morning, I'm always thinking about them. Because I live in Southern California now. They stay back home, and it's hard. Not having your family, your brothers, sisters. It was a hard transition.
What's it like now, obviously being away from your family? How much of an impact do you feel it has on your own state of mind when you're you're in camp, you've had a long camp, and you just need kind of somebody to talk to, just kind of take your mind off life? How difficult do you find being away from your family?
At times it gets difficult, because I've been with my family from since day one, so they've always been there. They've always had my back. They still do, but it's a little different since they're not here. But yeah, like once I get a good camp. I call my parents, see how they're doing. You know, they make me feel good. They comfort me. You know, when they know I'm not home.
With your amateur career, what made you decide against going down the route of going to try to box at an Olympics or something with Team USA?
Um, Actually, that was my first plan, going to the trying out for the Olympics. You know, because on 2017 I was on the USA team. I was on the youth USA team, so that gave me a little leap to the big names in the amateur with the amateur fighters. You know, so and from there we went from there, and I kept going to these tournaments, and I started seeing that they had like um, favorites and things like that, you know. And I'm pretty sure a lot of fighters have like seen it and dealt with it. And yeah, and I just chose to go pro because of like the politics and stuff like that of the amateur boxing.
That's something I was going to ask you. We're seeing a lot of young fighters, whether American, British, or from anywhere in the world, who are starting to turn professional a lot sooner than what they would have done in the past. I don't know whether that's just an observation or the media's like shown it a lot more recently. But why do you think there has been a trend of seeing amateurs turn over to become professional a bit sooner in their careers?
Actually, yeah, I've seen a lot of fighters from the amateur days when I used to fight, like in tournaments, fights, like they would be there, and now I see them getting signed to Eddie Hearn, Golden Boy, Top Rank, big promotion companies, and I think that's what everybody's starting to do now. Everybody's going away from the Olympics and just starting to go pro.
You mentioned obviously that, well, we know your song with Golden Boy, and you mentioned Eddie Hearn there. Eddie's obviously trying to build or continuing to build a US stable. What other promoters did you have talks with before you decided to sign with Golden Boy? Was Eddie one of them?
We had a couple, but Golden Boy was the best fit for me. You know, they're gonna look out for me, build my record up, build my experience, and me and my manager took the decision to. We made the best decision for my career, and that was going with Golden Boy.
What's the career path that Oscar and Golden Boy have laid out for you then?
Right now we're just taking it fight by fight. You know, I just want to get back in the ring. You know, it's been a while since I had a fight, and my main goal right now is just getting back in the ring.
At this stage of your career, 5-0, 3 knockouts, you're in that position where you have to fight either journeymen or people who have a similar record to yourself, just starting out, be 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, what have you. When you're in there and you're boxing them, how difficult or easy do you find it to not overlook your opponent?
I mean, from the start, we have a game plan, you know, and that's what it is. We just have to execute our game plan, and if we execute our game plan, we get the win, you know.
Obviously, we mentioned earlier on you were trained by Manny Robles. What made you decide to link up with Manny?
Um, Actually, my manager was already good friends with Manny, training there at Legends Boxing Gym, and I met my manager first, and he was the one that got me in contact with Manny Robles.
And obviously, everybody knows about the Manny Robles and Andy Ruiz Jr. split. I have to ask you about it because I know that you were close with Andy. You was a roommate of his. Go back to that.
Yeah,
What was it like being a roommate with the former unified world champion?
man, it was a good experience, you know, seeing him come up from the first fight, you know, having training camp with him, living here, you know, it was a good experience, you know, it taught me a lot too.
What did you used to get up to? Anything that you can let us in on? Any funny stories
Um,
there?
we would just go out like to the movies, to the beach and stuff like that, you know, just chill.
What's it like having somebody who'd achieved so much in their career before AJ had obviously fought for a world title, being in such close living quarters with him? What was that experience like?
You know, it was a great experience, you know, it taught me a lot from like where he was and where he got, you know, it just I seen a lot through that time period, you know.
Obviously, heading into the Joshua rematch in Saudi Arabia, as I say, I spoke to Manny a couple of days ago. He explained the entire situation to me. What's your recollection of the training camp and Andy turning up a bit late into it? What's your entire recollection of it all?
I mean, I was with him, and we had a camp in Mexico in Guadalajara. So we had started camp over there, and he was putting in the work. You know, when the work needed to be done, he would put it in. It was probably something was off probably, but you know the work, the training camp was there, but it was something was off.
After the fight in Saudi, Andy admitted and his father admitted that after the victory in New York, becoming the champion, kind of the lifestyle and the glory, it kind of got to him and he enjoyed a side to life that he wouldn't have had before. Could you see that when you was close with him? Could you see that he was kind of straying away to enjoy different sides to life?
I mean, of course, you know, like I feel like that's anybody, you know, especially coming from nothing, giving something, you know. But at the end of the day, he did what he had to do, and you know,
Why, if
yeah,
if you had a fully fit Andy Ruiz Jr., where would you rank him in the heavyweight division?
for sure, top five. You know, he's up there with the big dogs. He made a name for himself, and he put in the work to get up there with the big dogs. You know.
For you yourself, as obviously a close friend of his, how tough or difficult was it to see a second fight in Saudi Arabia, knowing that he couldn't produce what he'd produced in New York?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard seeing the fight, you know, because I know what Andy's capable of. A lot of people know what Andy's capable of in the ring. And that night, like I said, something was probably off, and it was just a tough night.
Obviously, since then, he's linked up with Eddie Reynoso. What are your thoughts on his move?
What's that?
Obviously, since then, he's linked up with Eddie Reynoso. What are your thoughts on his link up there?
You know, at the end of the day, it's he made his decision. He's looking out for himself, you know. He probably thought that was the best decision for him, and it probably is. You know, we're gonna have to see. But yeah,
Now, with yourself, obviously, we've spoken about your career today. Talks about your future plans, your future ambitions. How do you see the coming years playing out for yourself?
you know, I just want to get as many fights as I can. You know, I want to get back to it. I want to show everybody that what I'm capable of. You know, I just want to make a name for myself in the sport and outside the sport of boxing.
Boxing at featherweight, who do you feel is? What do you make even of the world champions in the division?
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of good fighters in the division. You know, the world champs, and I don't take nothing from them. You know, as a young fighter, I'm learning from them. You know, like as I go, I learn from fighters. You know.
And Anthony, one fight that's been spoken about is Josh Warrington versus Kanju. By all accounts, a deal was close to being agreed, or it was agreed close to being announced for when lockdown is over. I don't know where it stands now, but if that fight was to happen when boxing returns, what are your thoughts on it?
That would be a great fight. Two champs going head to head. Honestly, I see it going either way.
Anthony, then before I do leave you to enjoy the rest of your day, what would you like to say to everyone who tunes in to watch our interview?
All right, thank you for having me. Follow me on Instagram, Anthony_Garnica, and thank you to everybody watching the interview.
Anthony, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. Best of luck for the coming months and years in your career. We'll keep in touch and we'll catch up soon. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you for having me.